the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
De la Guerra Fría, bien, sucede en la Guerra Fría, justamente. Konami. Cuando Konami era Konami, hermano. Hideo Kojima Game. Siempre lo dice. Kojima egocéntrico. Mira el David Hater. El hater de todos. Aquí la voy a parir. Pues siempre cuando juego Metal Gear siempre me cuesta, ¿no? A matar de boss. Digo, a The End, perdón. Va a costar una bola.
All right. You ready to go?
Drop zone still showing a high pressure mass. Cav okay.
Porque no está en voz en español.
Got high visibility.
¡Grande!
Put out that cigar.
Grande, papu.
Connecting oxygen hose
Te
to
como
interior
los huevos.
connector. Put on your mask.
Grande. Está escuchando reggaetón ahí. Dale
Does
más
this Pennywise know what he's doing?
gasolina. No sabe con quién de quién está hablando.
10 minutes to drop off.
Hey, are you deaf?
He said put out the cigar and put on your mask.
Se viene.
Depressurization complete. Checking oxygen supply. 6 minutes to drop off. Opening rear hatch. Sunrise. External temperature minus 46 degrees Celsius. 2 minutes to drop off. Stand up.
Vámonos.
You'll be falling at 130 miles per hour. Try not to get frostbite from the wind chill. 1 minute to drop off. Move to the rear. Activate bailout model.
This is one for the history books. The world's first Halo jump.
10 seconds to drop off. Stand by. Status okay. All green.
Vámonos pues.
Prepare for drop off. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2,
One.
1.
Spread your wings.
And fly. God be with you.
Vale. Hermoso. Bien, Hideo Kojima nuevamente.
Jack, I've got some important news. The head of the CIA has finally given us the green light for the virtuous mission.
Virtual mission?
Virtuosamente.
No, the virtuous mission. The future of our Fox unit depends on it. If it succeeds, we'll be officially organized into a unit.
Virtuous mission? Sounds like some kind of initiation ritual.
You know, don't get cocky. This isn't a training op.
Right. So what exactly is this wonderful mission?
Well, about 2 years ago, a certain Soviet scientist requested asylum in the West through one of our moles. His name is Nikolai Stepanovich Sokolov.
Sokolov, el gran Sokolov.
OKB 754 Design Bureau, one of the Soviet's top secret weapon research facilities, and the East's foremost expert on weapons development.
Sokolov? Isn't he that famous rocket scientist?
The very same. On April the 12th, 1961, the Soviets achieved the first manned spaceflight in history.
The Earth was blue, but there was no God.
Well spoken. The rocket that carried Yuri Gagarin to orbit was the A-1, known as the Vostok rocket. Sokolov is said to be the man most responsible for the multi-engine cluster used in that rocket. After Gagarin's flight, Sokolov left rocket development to become the head of the newly established Design Bureau.
From a lowly technician to head of a design bureau, that's quite a success story, so why do you want to defect?
It seems he'd become afraid of his own creations.
Afraid?
Call it a crisis of conscience.
And for that, he left his country and his family behind and went over the fence?
Not exactly. One of his conditions was that his family was also to be taken safely to the west. We used a mole to get the family out first and succeeded in sneaking Sokolov over the Berlin Wall shortly afterwards. I was the one who conducted the operation.
The security on the eastern side was still full of holes back then. Then what?
We got Sokolov over in one piece, but the whole ordeal had left him exhausted, and we checked him into a hospital in West Berlin. It took him 2 weeks and more than 600 miles to get from the research facility in the Soviet Union to Berlin. He was in no condition to say anything coherent. And it was only a week later that we had something much bigger on our hands.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
October the 16th, 1962, President Kennedy received word that the Soviets were in the process of deploying intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba.
Cuba.
The president demanded that the Soviets dismantle and remove the missiles. At the same time, he announced a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments from reaching Cuba. But the Soviets didn't back down, instead placing their armed forces on secondary alert. Soviet transport ships carrying missiles continued on course towards Cuba. US and Soviet forces went on alert for an all-out nuclear war. Frantic negotiations were conducted through the UN's Emergency Security Council and unofficial channels to end the hair-trigger standoff. Finally, on October the 28th, the Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba. And so the
¿Será que la
world
versión
avoided
europea
nuclear
tendrá en
war.
español? Puede ser que sí.
But in order to get the Soviets to pull their missiles out,
A ver
we
si lo
had to
puedo.
make a deal.
You mean the one where the US agreed to remove its IRBMs from Turkey?
No. The Jupiter IRBMs deployed in Turkey were obsolete, and we were going to get rid of them anyway. They had no strategic value whatsoever to either the US or the Russians. The Turkey deal was a ruse, a cover story that was fed to the other intelligence agencies around the world.
So what did the Russians really want?
Sokolov. They wanted us to return Sokolov.
Al gran Sokolov.
You mean the Soviets pulled out of Cuba just to get their hands on Sokolov?
That's right.
What the hell was he working on?
En un
At the
Metal
time, we
Gear.
had no idea. We were running out of time. It was either give up Sokolov or risk full-scale nuclear war. In the end, we had no choice. President Kennedy gave in to Khrushchev's demand. The next day, I got Sokolov out of the hospital, handing him over to agents on the eastern side. Sokolov kept on screaming, "Save me," until he disappeared from my sight. Then a month ago, we received some new information from one of our moles.
About Sokolov?
Yes. He was taken back to the research facility and forced to continue working on the weapon in question under KGB supervision. What's more,
La KGB.
it's on the verge of completion.
So what kind of weapon is it? Something to do with space rockets?
No, missiles.
Same technology.
I guess you're right. We don't know the details, but it appears to be a new kind of nuclear device. For half a year now, the Soviets have been conducting frequent nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk.
Something to do with the weapon, I assume.
We're talking about a secret weapon so big that Khrushchev was ready to pull out of Cuba to get it back.
Is Sokolov still in the facility?
No, according to our intelligence, he's in Selinoyarsk, a
Selinoyarsk.
place in the mountains about 3 miles to the west that's known as the Virgin Cliffs.
The Virgin Cliffs. Nice name for a virtuous mission.
They moved him there just recently.
Why?
Apparently, they're conducting a field test of the weapon, but it's our best chance to get him back. This mission would never have been possible if he was still in the research facility. This is our last chance. Sokolov must have known that too when he contacted us.
Ahorita probamos la versión europea para ver si la tiene con voces en español. ¿Qué pasó, Leandro? ¿Qué gráfico Perdú? ¿Es juego de la Play 2? Dime tú, ¿qué juego de la Play 2 tiene gráficos? Gráficos actuales. Y para hacer, mira, R1, voy a ver yo lo que hacía, R1, mira. Este R1 va a ser muy importante en el juego, en algunas partes. Muy sexys. Claro, de la mítica Play 2, hermano, ¿qué te me estás contando, papu? ¿Qué me estás container? Aquí veo lo que dice. R1. Lo que ve.
Helium will be pumped into the balloon to inflate it. The process takes about 20 minutes. Once it's complete, the gunship's arm will latch onto the balloon and pull
De
it
los
up.
mejores videojuegos de la historia. Sin duda.
I'm familiar with the theory.
Take it easy.
En esa
It's been
época,
combat proof.
Do you think Sokolov
a
is
nivel
up to
historia,
The shock will be less than during a parachute jump, and the arm can handle up to 500 pounds.
So you're planning on going over the border in a single combat talent?
She's equipped with two 6-barrel 20mm Vulcan cannons, as well as two 40mm machine guns.
Sounds like she could hold her own against a battalion of tanks.
Even with the fuel in the reserve tank, we're facing a 4-hour time limit. If all goes well, it shouldn't take more than a few hours.
Home in time for dinner.
But if anything goes wrong, you'll be eating dinner, breakfast, and all the rest of your meals in the jungle.
ajá. Comeremos en la jungla, y veremos qué comer, Tenemos que ver qué comer, porque hay una cosa que nos pueden envenenar, nos pueden caer mal. La cosa, 3 años, bueno, está bien, más o menos. Estamos, ya, eso tiene cuánto, 4 años ya, 4. Mira, tenemos que recoger nuestro bolso, nuestra mochila. Es lo primero, nuestra mochila. Epicardo. En la Play 2, weón. La joya. Cinematografía en condiciones. Era Zelda, se copió a Zelda Breath of the Wild. El grande. Ah, sí, el coreano oscuro. El coreano del norte. Ahí va. ¿Por qué? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué ha dicho? No, yo no sigo mucho su historia. Voy a ver si en la versión europea tiene la versión en español. Ahorita lo reviso.
Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory, and somebody might be listening in. From here on out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other. Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake.
Naked Snake.
I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're
Snake.
not to mention your real name.
Snake?
What, you don't like snakes?
What do you mean?
Yo me llamo Manuel Rosales.
Survival training.
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know if I'd ever order one in a restaurant, but...
Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see. I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's speciality. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
Great. Now I see why you asked me if I like snakes. I suppose calling me Snake was your idea of a joke, too.
No, there's a good reason for that. I'll tell you later when the time is right.
Gotcha. Getting back to the subject, how exactly am I supposed to feed myself?
You've been issued a knife and a tranquilizer gun. Use them to hunt for food. You'll also find some medical supplies in your backpack.
Yeah, about the backpack. I lost it in a tree on the way down.
I see. Well, you'd better go back and get it then. You know where it is?
No problem. I can see it from here. It's stuck on a branch.
Dale, tengo que buscarla.
To climb a tree, stand in front of a tree that's covered in ivy and press the action button.
Me acuerdo que en
I'll
esta
be
parte era
monitoring your
difícil,
progress
¿no?
over the radio. We
Los
can't risk
movimientos tipo
violating
tanque.
Soviet airspace, but I'll be in the
Un
gunship.
coñazo.
My frequency is 140.85.
85. Sí.
I'll give you a call if I need to talk to you. If you need to talk to me, use the send function. Okay, Snake, go get your backpack.
Venga. Venga, compañero. Esos días él en su reportaje. Ah, no sé, weón. Vámonos. Sí, él siempre tiene problemas con Japón por eso. Todo bien, todo bien. Se ve bien, se ve bien. La mochila, la mochila. Busca la mochila. ¡Yujú! Ahí está. Vale. Ya lo tengo. Lo voy a llamar. Ouch.
I see you've retrieved your backpack, Snake.
Venga.
To equip a weapon, it's necessary to take it out of your backpack. In the survival viewer, choose Weapon from the backpack. Your available weapons will be displayed in a window in the upper left. From that list, choose the weapon you want to equip and press the Enter button. For other equipped items, just do the same thing from Item.
Got it. Use the survival viewer backpack.
Yep, that's right. Survival is fundamental to this mission. After you've been out in the field for a while, your stamina will start to drop. If your stamina gets too low, it'll affect your performance. You won't be able to shoot accurately, for example, and your wounds won't heal as smoothly. Keep an eye on your stamina so you don't run out. To recover lost stamina, you can hunt for local flora and fauna. You can use either your tranquilizer gun or your knife to hunt.
My only weapon is a Mark 22 Hush Puppy tranquilizer gun?
That's right. It's been fitted with its own suppressor. However, the suppressor will deteriorate every time you fire. Once its durability reaches 0, the noise suppression effect will be gone. So don't get too trigger happy with it. The suppressor's durability is shown in the icon. Any weapons and equipment beyond what you're carrying now, you'll have to find as you go.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment? Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
Solo covert actions are standard Fox operating procedure. You can't leave any traces of your presence. No weapons, equipment, footprints, sweat, or bodily waste. The same goes for bullets and cartridges, too. Your presence in enemy territory is already a violation of international conventions of warfare. There aren't supposed to be any American soldiers in Russia. It could spark an international incident. You can't let anyone see you. You can't let the enemy know you're there. This is a stealth mission. You're a ghost, Snake, in every sense of the word. And there'll be no rescue if you're captured. The military and US government will deny any involvement in the affair.
Then I'll just have to take care of myself, huh?
I'm afraid so. You've been given a fake death pill for that purpose. SIS guidelines stipulate that soldiers on covert ops like this one be issued a potassium cyanide capsule. Tape it to your body so you can take it when you need to.
How generous of you.
Use it if you're taken prisoner by the enemy. It'll send you into a state of false death for a short time.
Fooling them into thinking that I'm really dead. So, how do I come back to life?
Just take the revival pill.
You mean that thing they put in my tooth before the mission?
That's the one. But be careful. If you remain in a state of false death for too long, nothing will be able to bring you back. Remember that.
Hey.
I'll keep it in mind. You said this was a solo mission, right?
Right.
I guess that means I can't count on any reinforcements.
Correct. The mission rests entirely in your hands.
A real one-man army.
Relax. There's a support team ready to back you up over the radio.
Who?
I'll introduce them to you. This time, survival is of utmost importance. The first member of the support team will be in charge of monitoring your physical condition, acting as a medic, so to speak, as well as recording your mission data. She's a member of Fox as well, and she's here on the gunship with me.
She?
Hello, Snake. I'm paramedic. Nice to meet you.
La paramédica.
As in a medic who comes in by parachute.
Aren't you going to tell me your real name?
Are you going to tell me yours, Mr. Snake?
My name, huh? It's John Doe.
And they call you Jack for short. You're a regular Captain Nemo.
A name means nothing on the battlefield. After a week, no one has a name. What's your name?
Jane Doe.
Hey, ¿qué pasó, Kiloso?
Very funny.
Bienvenido,
I
hermano.
wasn't joking.
Juegazo.
But I'll tell you my name only if you manage to make it
Una
back alive.
obra maestra.
My
bro.
frequency is 145.73.
Esperando el remake.
She's also in charge of recording your mission
Bueno, cuando
data.
salga.
Whenever you want
Un
to
momento.
save, send a message over the reserved
Me dio
save
buena de
frequency,
volvérmelo a pasar, bro.
140.96.
Ya me pasé el
So
Silent Hill 2.
saving lets me record my mission
Ahorita.
data.
That's right. It also records the state of your health.
¿Cómo te todo,
Good to
Kiloso?
know.
There's one more person I want to introduce you to, Snake.
Sí, yo voy a buscarlo,
Speaking
Leandro.
of snakes,
Para ver.
you remember the boss, don't you? A legendary soldier and your mentor. Actually, it was the boss that got the DCI's authorization in the first place. She's going to be serving as Fox's mission advisor.
Boss is?
She also helped me plan this mission. She and I were at SAS together.
Eva.
Jack, is that you? How
Eva.
many years has it been?
Mira, The Boss. The Boss.
Boss?
That's
The
right.
Boss.
It's me.
Es la tutora.
Talk to me. Let me hear your voice.
It's been 5 years, 72 days, and 18 hours.
You've lost weight.
You can tell just by the sound of my voice.
Of course I can. I know all about you.
The
Really?
Boss. Tremenda.
Well, I don't know anything about you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Why'd you disappear on me all of a sudden?
I was on a top secret mission. You didn't need me anymore.
But there were still so many things I wanted you to teach me.
No, I taught you everything you needed to know about fighting techniques. I taught you all I could. The rest you needed to learn on your own.
Techniques, sure. But what about how to think like a soldier?
How to think like a soldier? I can't teach you that. A soldier needs to be strong in spirit, body, and technique. And the only thing you can learn from someone else is technique. In fact, technique doesn't even matter. What's most important is spirit. Spirit and body are like two sides of a single coin. They're the same thing. I can't teach you how to think. You'll just have to figure it out for yourself. Listen to me, Jack. Just because soldiers are on the same side right now doesn't mean they always will be. Having personal feelings about your comrades is one of the worst sins you can commit. Politics determine who you face on the battlefield. And politics are a living thing. They change along with the times. Yesterday's good might be tomorrow's evil.
Is that why you abandoned me?
No, it had nothing to do with you. I already told you, Jack. I was on a top secret mission. A soldier has to follow whatever orders he's given. It's not his place to question why. But you're looking for a reason to fight. You're a natural-born fighter, but you're not quite a soldier. A soldier is a political tool, nothing more. That's doubly true if he's a career soldier. Right and wrong have no place
Sí,
in
madre.
this mission. He has no enemies
Es una
and no friends.
historia de infiltración
Only
muy
the
buena.
mission. You follow the
De
orders
espías
you're
y tal.
given.
Y muy
That's
buena.
what being
De
a soldier
infiltración
is.
militar y tal.
I do whatever I have to get the job done.
No
I
ser
don't think about
detectado, pero
politics.
a mí me van a detectar
That's
todo el
not
tiempo.
the same thing. Sooner or later, your conscience is going to bother you. In the end, you have to choose whether you're going to live as a soldier or just another
¿Tú jugaste
man
la
with a
versión de
gun.
del
There's
Collection?
a saying in the
El oso.
Orient, loyalty to
Esta es
the
la versión
end.
también del Collection.
Do you know what it means?
Being patriotic.
It means
¿Cuándo era la Play
devoting
5?
yourself to your country.
I follow the president and the top brass. I'm ready to die for them if
Ya que era
necessary.
Play 2, no me lo leí.
The
El juego
president
original.
and the top brass won't be there forever. Once their terms are up, others will take their place.
I follow the will of the leader, no matter who's in
Vale,
charge.
listo, Leandro.
People aren't the ones who dictate
hermano.
the missions.
Then who does?
The times. People's values change over time, and so do the leaders of a country. So there's no such thing as an enemy in absolute terms. The enemies we fight are only enemies in relative terms, constantly changing with the times. As long as we have loyalty to the end, there's no point in believing in anything, even in those we love.
And that's the way a soldier's supposed to think?
The only thing we can believe in with absolute certainty is the mission, Jack.
All right, but do me a favor.
What is it?
Call me Snake.
Snake. Oh, right. Your codename is Snake. It suits you well.
That's right. The legendary unit that the boss put together during World War II was a snake. The Cobra unit, a group of heroes that brought the war to an end and saved the world. As long as you've got a legendary hero backing you up, you'll be fine. Isn't that right, Snake?
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else I'd rather have with me. Oh, and one more thing, boss.
Yes?
It's good to hear your voice again.
Same here. After all, who knows if either of us will make it out alive? Snake, you are always best at urban warfare and infiltrating buildings. But this is the jungle. Survival is going to be key. Those CQC techniques I taught you are sure to come in handy.
CQC? Close quarters combat, huh?
Yeah.
I've been in the Green Berets for the past few years.
Los voy a
I'm
ver.
probably pretty rusty.
Not to worry. I'll be here to help you remember. After all, this is your first actual survival mission. I'll be supporting you over the radio.
Where are you, boss? Next to the Major?
The boss is communicating with us by radio from aboard a Permit-class submarine in the Arctic Ocean.
My frequency is 141.80. Call me if you need my advice on battle techniques.
Gotcha.
Your mission is to retrieve Dr. Sokolov. Dr. Sokolov is being held in an abandoned factory located to the north of your current position. Avoid heavy combat and don't let anyone see you. Don't forget that this is a stealth mission.
Sí, no me pueden ver. Aunque siempre me ven, pues yo intento que no me vean, pero siempre me ven.
Snake, try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
Ah, pero tú sabes, Quiloso. Yo tengo el 3. Porque este no me lo leí, Yo lo estaba jugando original. Lo estaba jugando en la consola, que la tengo para capturar. Pero no me lee el 3, ¿o no? Me pasé el Silent Hill 2 en la consola, pero el 3 no. El Solid no me Metal Gear Solid 3 no me lo agarró. Quedaba Play 2 y el negro. Play 2, negro. Entonces decidí pillarlo aparte, en la Collector. Pero me parece una versión europea y una versión americana. ¿Tú crees que la versión europea tenga los idiomas en español? Porque me gustaría tener los idiomas en español más que los idiomas en inglés. Así nos enteramos más de... Vamos a tratarlos como perros. Ajá, que recuerdo. Vale. Esto... Vamos a hacer algo. La mochila. El cuchillo de supervivencia. Tengo los 3 puestos. Objetos. Mira, la pastilla de muerte falsa y la resucitadora. Que la tengo. El puro para poner unos puritos ahí. El prismático, el detector de movimiento. Ya va. Lo vamos a poner activo. Poner activo. El sensor antipersonal. Lo que voy a hacer es... Aquí detecto los enemigos. Vale. Estamos llegando a este spot. Dale. Aquí me combato. Cuchillo. A veces pudiese haber cazado esos bichos, para tener comida. Ahí está un cocodrilo. Tiene unos cocodrilos. Unos crocodiles. Vale. Los míticos Moscorocorodrai. Pero tendría que pasármelos para aquel lado. Me voy para acá. Aquí hay algo. Vámonos, córrele, que te van a agarrar por las nargas. Por las narguitas. Vale, todo bien. Ahí al frente tiene cosas interesantes, pero es complicado cogerlas. Al frente ese bicho tiene algo para agarrar ahí también. El del... Pero no me la juego. Vale, pásame para acá. Pásamelo para acá. Aquí está activo, hay un bicho por aquí. Se está moviendo aquí, está moviendo. Lo puedo agarrar por un lado. Hay que verlo aquí. ¿Está? Venga. Vale. Vamos, boom, vamos, boom. Vamos todo boom. Está pendiente porque esas bichas me pican y después estoy envenenado como una piltra. Vamos. Ahí están los bichos.
Major, I've spotted 2 enemy soldiers.
They're probably KGB troops sent to guard Sokolov.
AK-47s
Yeah.
and grenades.
Tengo que esquivarlo a esos brothers que no me
Snake,
vean.
your presence in Soviet territory is already a violation of international law. We can't let the Kremlin find out that the CIA and the American government are involved. Contact with the enemy is strictly prohibited. Don't engage them in battle either. This is a stealth mission. Got that?
The Major is right. The point of this mission is to sneak through the jungle without being seen. The success of the mission depends on how well you use your camouflage.
Claro.
Change your camouflage by
Sí.
selecting Camouflage from the Survival Viewer. The uniform
Luego sí, los
option lets you
camuflajes
pick
también
your
para todo
uniform,
tipo de
while
tierras
the
y
face
cosas,
option lets you change your face paint. Choosing camouflage that blends in with your surroundings will
Asian,
help you
ahí lo invito,
conceal
Drew.
yourself more effectively.
Un hacen ahí para coger de Luca, ¿no?
Also, don't forget that anything that moves will stand out in the jungle. If you
Para coger
just
y
stand
no.
up and run around like an idiot, you're bound to be spotted.
Como un
But if you
idiota,
crawl
dice
instead, you
el de
should be able
Boss.
to sneak by without being noticed.
Si corres como un idiota te van a detener. Te van a disparar.
You can see
No,
how
está
effective
corriendo.
your camouflage is by looking at the camo
Pero no lo
index.
dice en
The camo index shows
en
how well
en el
your
subtítulo,
current
esa vaina.
camouflage blends in with the surrounding area. The higher the value,
Claro,
the harder you are
normalmente
to spot, and vice
camuflarse
versa.
para si estás en
The
verde,
key is to
traje
make yourself
verde. Si
one
estás
with
en
nature.
tierra, traje de
Keep that
tierra.
in mind as you go
Y te pone
along,
el
okay?
porcentaje. Te pone el porcentaje de cuánto estás camuflado. Aquí tengo 15% camuflaje, ¿viste? Estoy en la mierda. Pero si me escondo, tengo 45. Y si me acuesto, tengo 80. Ah, se ve aquí arriba. Hueveando. Me quedé hueveando. Ahora aquí. ¿Qué es aquí? Lo veo. Espera que dé la vuelta, me meto en el tronco. Es que quería agarrar eso que estaba dentro del tronco también. Pasa recto y... Concentración. 100%. Con esto para hacer una llave. Por acá, por acá, por acá. Vale, vamos a ver. Ahora sí. Ahora todo. Eso era Todoski. Landroski. Aquí estoy, mira, aquí estoy un 60% de camuflaje. Hasta luego, continúa amigos su trayectoria. Venga, hasta luego. Hasta luego, Guillermo. Pero creo que me hirieron un poquito, mira. Así vamos a ponernos aquí el cuchillo. Por si acaso veo algo para casa. Quiero subir ahí. Hay que estar pendiente con los... ¿Cómo se llama? Joder. Complicados los movimientos. No creo que se ve que tumbar es solo una fruta o algo. No tiene nada por dentro. Vale, por allá. Ah, mira, aquí hay un bicho. Uy, aquí hay una... Ay. Aquí hay algo. Espera que venga un poco. Está acercando. Es una serpiente o algo. Quiero hacer mucho ruido. Se me acerca, ataco. Ah, mira, es una especie de serpiente, creo. Vale. Vamos aquí. Una rana. No. Venga. Esta rana me puede servir. Ya se fue para aquel lado. Ay, va a pasar por aquí, me cago en tu madre. No puede ser. No llegué al fondo. Tienes que llegar al fondo. ¿No me verá? No. Ahora tú son dos. Vale. Vamos por paso. Vamos por pasitos. Yo creo que aquí no me ve. Tengo 80% de camuflaje. No creo que me ve. Vale, bien. Perfecto. Esta va a ser una prueba nada más. Vamos a intentarlo con cuadrado. Tengo que dar con cuadrado para levantar, como caso. Ah, ya me acordé. Ya vaya, ya me acordé, ya me acordé. Ya me acordé. Lo que más jodía este juego eran los controles.
The enemy, he's here.
Esta vaya. Vale. Esto para mí. Espera. Vale. Vamos recordándonos. Hay un panal de abejas por aquí. Había un panal de abejas por aquí. No me acuerdo si había un panal de abejas. Creo que sí. Que lo tumbaba y le caían encima de los pies. Pero bueno. Espera que venga el cara de pan aquel. Creo que es con cuadrado o con triángulo. No voy a apretar X porque X para abajo. Vale. Agarro esto, agarro esto. No había más nada. Había un panal de abejas. Mira, aquí está el panal de abejas. Vale, vale. Había un panal de abejas. Ya me acordé. Aquí que lento. Vale. Aquí lento, aquí ya me acordé. Perdón, compañero. ¡Ay! Perdón, amigo. Ya va. Vale. Ya va. Compañero. Oye, ver un remake así que con movimientos de ahorita. ¡Guau!